UFC 322, Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev goes down on November 15th. And this is, in my opinion, without a doubt, the best UFC pay-per-view of 2025. Honestly, I don't even know what fight card would compare to UFC 322. And it's crazy. This is going to be the last big pay-per-view, at least in North America or the United States, I'm not even sure Canada, on ESPN, because they are heading to Paramount in early 2026. But I want to go through this card and talk about some of the fights on this card, because really from top to bottom, this card is absolutely stacked. I mean, obviously the main event, which is insane. We have Islam Makhachev going up to welterweight and challenging for the welterweight title against newly crowned champ Jack Della Maddalena. Co-main event, we have Valentina Shevchenko versus Weili Zhang for the women's flyweight title. So essentially we have two champions who are no longer champions because the UFC stripped them of their belts or made them vacate their titles, trying to become double champions on the same card, which is actually crazy. And I think could have been good promotion heading into this event. We have Sean Brady versus Michael Morales, a banger welterweight matchup. We have Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates, which is another banger welterweight matchup. We have Beneil Dariush versus Benoît Saint-Denis, which is I know I keep repeating myself. Banger matchup after banger matchup after banger matchup. Let me minimize this real quick and see if it lets me minimize it on the UFC's illustrious website. Have you seen a better main card in a while? Have you guys seen a better main card in a while? And thank the MMA gods that they moved bummy Bo Nickal to the prelims. Now, he is the feature prelim. I do understand that. But we're getting Bo Nickal versus Rodolfo Vieira. It shouldn't have been on the main card. I mean, especially when you have this level of fights. High-level matchup, high-level matchup, high-level matchup, high-level matchup, high-level matchup. Meaningful within their divisions. We're gonna talk through each matchup in a second, or most of the matchups on this card. Bo Nickal, Rodolfo Vieira, very important prelim, and deserves to be on the prelim, no doubt about that. We have Roman Kopylov versus Gregory Rodrigues. It's not really all that meaningful, but still a very high quality matchup for the prelims. Erin Blanchfield versus Tracy Cortez. Okay, I'm not dying to see this fight, but still meaningful in the women's flyweight division. I mean, the prelims are really good. Malcolm Wellmaker. And I'm butchering his name as I kind of paused on it. Malcolm Wellmaker, a very interesting prospect in the bantamweight division right now. I mean, I'm excited to see. I'm literally excited to see every fight on this card. Daukaus, Gerald, Meerschaert. All right, I take that back. But this is an early prelim. Pat Sabatini, Chepe Mariscal is actually a banger prelim. This is an early prelim. I feel like I keep repeating myself, but we're just kind of going through the card really quickly here. Angela Hill, Fatima, Kline. Okay, I don't give a shit about that fight. And then we have Baisangur, Susurkaev versus Erin, McConico. Very interested to see how Susurkaev looks in this fight. Interesting Dana White's Contender Series prospect who came out fighting quickly after he signed his contract and got a win. I mean, you have to see pretty much every single fight on this card. Even the early prelims are solid. When are we seeing that nowadays? When are we seeing that? It's very rare that we have a card where it's like, damn, I must watch the prelims. I don't think there's a single fight on this prelim card. At least the regular prelims, okay? Maybe the early prelims, you could skip Angela Hill, Fatima, Kline, but even Kline's a decent prospect in the strawweight division. All right, Pat Sabatini, Chepe Mariscal is must-see. Daukaus, Gerald, Meerschaert, I don't really care about that all that much, but Daukaus won some fights outside the organization. He's now coming back. This is a really solid card. I really can't wait to watch UFC 322. And I really love when the UFC has a deep card. I hate these shallow, like, one-fight cards. And if that fight doesn't live up to the hype or something fluky happens, it's like, oh well. Like, look at 321. Wasn't really a deep card. Main event, shit the bed. Tom Aspinall quit in the main event. And then we really didn't have anything. I mean, it's a bit of an exaggeration, but you get my point. But let's talk about the main card. Actually, let's start with Bo Nickal, Rodolfo Vieira. By the way, I'm going to be doing a full card prediction video for this event. I'll be live streaming this event. So do me a favor, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications. Bo Nickal versus Rodolfo Vieira. Listen, this isn't a guaranteed win for Bo Nickal. I think it's a very winnable matchup considering Rodolfo Vieira is a high-level BJJ grappler. He's going to want to shoot takedowns. Bo Nickal has that wrestling background. But this is a bounce-back fight for Bo Nickal. If he does not win this fight, his career is over. He got embarrassed by Rainier de Ritter, who then went on to quit in his next fight. He abused the body of Bo Nickal and made him quit, and then went on to quit in his next fight. And now, it's like you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. I hate to use that expression, but Bo Nickal had this step up, and now you can't just start throwing him trash cans that you're literally signing. You're essentially signing fighters for Bo Nickal to beat. You can't really do that. So Rodolfo Vieira, very solid fighter. He's not a trash can. He has good BJJ, but it is a favorable matchup for Bo Nickal. So I think this is the perfect featured prelim fight. Bo Nickal deserves to be like a feature prelim. Barely. Just barely. Really off star power, he deserves to be a feature prelim because the feature prelim's entire target is essentially to draw people to watch that so they can pitch you on the pay-per-view at the end. At least that's what it used to be. So I'm actually really looking forward to this matchup. Obviously, I already talked about some of the other prelims. I don't want to spend too much time on that because I want to talk about the main card fights. Beneil Dariush versus Benoît Saint-Denis. I love this matchup. Benoît Saint-Denis, basically fraud checking Mauricio Hufi in his last fight. Beneil Dariush, who did he last fight? I'm trying to remember right now off the top of my head. I have Topology open here, so let me actually take a look real quick before I forget. You have Beneil Dariush coming off a win over Renato Moicano. Before that, lost to Armin and Charles Oliveira, which is crazy. If you really think about it, a lot of people have written off Beneil Dariush. I get it. He's 36 years old. He looks like he's 65 in real life. But now, honestly, look at his losses before. Like, people were talking about him getting a title shot. He beat Gamrot. He loses to Charles Oliveira and Armin Tsarukyan via finish, two of the best lightweights in the world. And then you have BSD, who people were hyping up, only for him to then lose to Renato Moicano. I honestly think he could win that rematch. I know it sounds crazy. And also, MMA math doesn't work. Dariush beats Moicano. BSD loses to Moicano. Doesn't mean Dariush is definitely going to beat BSD. This is a banger fight. Beneil Dariush is a very high-level fighter. He's at the top of the division, in my opinion, regardless of where he's currently ranked. Where is he currently ranked? I should know that. Number 9. I still think he's a very good quality fighter. Has a nasty kicking game. And this is a fight that's relevant in the lightweight division. BSD, I know people writ him off. He lost to Moicano. Moicano's kind of scrubby. I still think BSD has a future in the lightweight division. I really do. And he's nasty on the feet. He has a very good ground game. He exposed Hufi. Everyone thought he was going to lose to Hufi, myself included. And he went out there and beat the brakes off of him. Beat him badly. And now he's getting that step up in competition again in Beneil Dariush. And if he wins this fight, BSD deserves a massive fight. I should have the rankings open right now. But BSD deserves a big fight. He deserves a massive fight. He got that Poirier jump up. Allegedly he had staph infection going into that fight. It is what it is. He was having some success early, ends up getting knocked out, I believe, in the second round. Now he kind of gets an opportunity to rewrite his career because people are writing him off. So I'm really looking forward to this lightweight matchup. And this is opening up the pay-per-view. Then you have Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates. Leon Edwards went on this crazy long winning streak. He finally gets his title shot. He's losing to Kamaru Usman. He head kick KOs him. Then he rematches him in the trilogy, beats him by decision. Then what does he do? Okay, he gets the gifted, easy title shot defense against Colby Covington. Then he fights Bilal Muhammad, gets brutally dumped on his bald spot. And now people have kind of written Leon Edwards off because then he's supposed to fight JDM. JDM gets pulled to fight Bilal. He gets Sean Brady instead, which is a horrible stylistic matchup for Leon. And he gets mauled by Sean Brady, who's a grappler instead of a striker like JDM. And now he's on a 2-fight losing streak. And now he gets a more favorable matchup like Carlos Prates. Both of these guys, super high-level strikers. I think Leon Edwards is more well-rounded, has grappling that he can use. Even though I know a lot of people don't recognize Leon's grappling because he looked like an amateur against Brady. He looked like an amateur against Bilal. Those guys are very good grapplers. But you have Prates, who was a nasty striker. Flatlined Jeff Neal in his last fight with a spinning elbow. But what happened in the fight before that? Got outclassed by Ian Machado Gary on short notice. So Carlos Prates, very dangerous, but this is a massive jump up in competition for Carlos Prates. And this is really Leon Edwards' career on the line. If he loses this fight, what happens to him from there? I know that sounds a bit extreme, but if he can't beat Carlos Prates, who just got schooled by Ian Machado Gary, then what does he do? I think Leon has to mix in the grappling in this fight. But Leon's a very good striker. He's not particularly offensive. He can kind of be, conservative in his fights. But I think he could win this fight. He can mix in the grappling. He was able to take down Colby and hold him down. Now, I know Colby's a bum, but Leon has a lot riding on this fight. And I think so does Prates, though. This is his opportunity to really jump up in the rankings, get a win over a former champion. I mean, this is the fourth fight down on a pay-per-view. Since when do we get high-level matchup after high-level matchup that actually has implications in the division? You look at the rankings right now. Leon's still number 4. Carlos Prates, number 9. Makes a lot of impact on the welterweight division, which I know is kind of logjam right now. We have Shavkat at the top. We have Sean Brady at the top. We have Ian Machado Gary at the top. We have Bilal. If he's fighting Ian Machado Gary, if he beats him, he's still right there in the title picture as well. We got Usman begging for an undeserved title shot. This fight is very meaningful in the division for both guys and for the division. Really looking forward to this matchup. Then, featured fight on the card, I think most underrated fight on the card, is Sean Brady versus Michael Morales. I absolutely love this matchup. Sean Brady, 18-1. Only loss is to Bilal Muhammad on his way to a title. Michael Morales, 18-0, undefeated. I wanted to see Brady versus Ian Machado Gary. It didn't happen. I still like these matchups. And Michael Morales, this is a massive step up in opposition. I mean, he beat Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns kind of on the downturn, kind of washed up a little bit, kind of chinny, and really is not a very big welterweight. You have Brady, who's a massive welterweight, who's going to check your grappling, who's going to expose you if you're not very good. And Morales right now, the best opposition he's fought is Gilbert Burns, who Brady also has a win over. This is a top, does anybody else love when they stack a card with like the same weight class? I mean, think about it. So you got Sean Brady, Michael Morales in the welterweight division, ranked 2 and 8. You have welterweight division 4 and 8 in Edwards versus Prates. And then, of course, you have the main event, Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev, champion, the welterweight championship on the line. So I love when they stack a card with a lot of guys from the same weight class. And I really think this is a fight where if Brady beats Morales, he's like, you know what? I've beaten everyone, and now I'm taking on. I've praised Gary a lot because he doesn't just hide behind his ranking. He'll fight MVP, super dangerous, behind him in the rankings. He'll fight Carlos Prates, super dangerous, behind him in the rankings. This is kind of Sean Brady's moment. He's fighting a super dangerous guy behind him in the rankings. A lot of people would say he doesn't have nothing to earn from it. I really do think he has something that he can earn with this. I think it puts him right in line for a title shot. I think depending on how he performs, he could be next in line for a title shot. Imagine Sean Brady goes out there, schools Morales on the ground, subs him. Islam beats JDM. Sean Brady's right there. I mean, even if JDM beats Islam, Sean Brady's right there if he schools Morales. He's arguably next in line. The only person that might have a say in that is Bilal Muhammad versus Gary. Because if Gary wins, I think Gary would be more deserving than Sean Brady at that point in time. But this is a very high-level matchup. I can't wait. I can't wait to see how Morales' grappling holds up against the high-level grappling of Sean Brady. I can't wait to see how Brady's striking has evolved as well. So I'm really looking forward to this matchup. Then you have Valentina Shevchenko versus Weili Zhang for the women's flyweight title. I really don't know how to feel about this. You got Shevchenko and her crusty ass lips. Pause, that sounds weird. Versus Weili Zhang moving up from strawweight. I know there's not a lot of interesting matchups you can make in the women's strawweight division. For Weili, Weili kind of cleaned out the division a bit. And now you have Mackenzie Dern. Oh my God, how shit is that division? Mackenzie Dern is the champion. But I get it. Weili Zhang's been around for a while. She's defended her belt a couple times. The UFC seems keen on not allowing people to become simultaneously double champion. And then you have Valentina Shevchenko, who had the trilogy with Grasso, where Shevchenko was clearly the better fighter in all 3 fights in a way, and it ended up just happened to play out to be a trilogy. Think about how weird that is. You have Shevchenko, who's schooling Grasso in the first fight, gets rear naked choked. She wins the second fight, kind of gets robbed into a draw with a weird scorecard from Mike Bell, talk about rigged. And then she finally beats her cleanly in the trilogy. And then there's really not anyone for her to defend against. She beats Manon Fior, And then who else is really left? You're going to say Erin Blanchfield, who got beat by Manon Fiorot not that long ago. So it kind of made sense at the time, considering neither one of them had anyone of very interest in their divisions to defend their title against. But I always thought Weili was kind of small to be fighting in the women's flyweight division. Shevchenko is a former 35er. So it's going to be interesting to see how this fight plays out. But Weili Zhang is my favorite women's fighter. She's super exciting. Shevchenko, I feel like, has kind of coasted over the last few years. So I'm not like dying to see this matchup. But this is one of the best women's fights you can put together right now. And it's Weili Zhang having an opportunity to make history, to go down kind of with Amanda Nunes as a female fighter who could capture 2 belts in 2 different weight classes and beat the GOAT of women's strawweight. So it's going to be interesting. I wonder what happened if Weili loses. Does she go back down to strawweight? Does she stay at flyweight and fight contenders? Because if she goes back down to strawweight, Mackenzie Dern might as well relinquish her title out of respect for Weili Zhang's return, because Weili beats the brakes off Mackenzie Dern. There's no doubt about that. But it's just crazy seeing kind of the divisions move on, like from Weili Zhang. It's weird because it was like at the top of the division at strawweight for so long. It was like Weili, Rose, Joanna, and now they're all gone. Like Rose is in a weird position. I think she moved up actually to flyweight now. I don't know if she's going to stay there. Weili's now moving up. Joanna retired a while ago. Weili Zhang retired her. Never forget the first fight between Weili and Joanna. That was crazy with the hematoma. But yeah, this is a banger women's title fight that I'm not like crazy dying to see, but it's super high level, and obviously it's meaningful for both divisions. Now, I really want to talk about the main event because this card is so damn solid, and then it just has an A+ main event. I've talked about this before. You can have a very deep card, and if you don't have a great main event, it's kind of like, But Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev for the welterweight title is a straight up banger. JDM's on a crazy long win streak. He beat Bilal Muhammad, who was on a crazy long win streak, to win the title in one of the best fights of 2025, arguably the fight of the year in my opinion. That gets no respect. And then you have Islam Makhachev, who's dominated the lightweight division for a while. He's decided he wants to move up. He no longer has to cut weight. We don't know truly, even Islam doesn't know, truly how much he has hindered himself by cutting down to 155. And now he doesn't have to cut that extra 15 pounds. He's putting on weight. He looks massive now. And I'm very curious when we see them in the cage, how does the size discrepancy look? Does JDM look bigger? Do they look about the same size? Does Islam look bigger? Imagine how insane that would be. But this is such a high-level matchup. And I know a lot of people are saying striker versus grappler. Islam's a grappler. JDM's a boxer primarily. It's really not that, because Jack Della Maddalena has evolved a bit. Obviously, he's not going to be shooting takedowns, but he never really accepts the position on the ground. And I really wonder if JDM just keeps scrambling. Does Islam get tired? Does Islam try to strike with JDM? How does Islam evolve his game plan or change his game plan if he can't sub JDM or if he can't hold him down and control him for long periods of time? And JDM on the feet is an absolute savage, nasty body shots, good boxing. But you can't forget, people forget this, Islam Makhachev is one of the best strikers in the UFC. Now, a lot of that is predicated on the takedown threat. So that's where this fight gets super interesting, because if Islam can get JDM down but can't control him, JDM's not going to be fearful of the takedown threat. And so therefore, JDM's able to get off a lot more on the feet. So that's where it's going to be really interesting. And then also, Islam, he's nasty. He can lock up a sub in a split second. Look at the way he did against Moicano. Look at what he did against Dustin Poirier as well. So JDM, while he's scrambling, getting wild, can Islam latch up a Darce choke? Can he latch up a guillotine? Can he latch up a rear naked choke? Take the back. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. And it's so meaningful because for JDM, it's crazy where JDM is in his career, because he's on this long win streak. He wins the title of a title shot that he didn't really even deserve. I'm not saying that he didn't deserve it, but he still needed kind of that one win to get the title shot. And now, in his first title defense, he gets an opportunity to put an all-time GOAT in his prime on his resume. It doesn't get much bigger than this. And also for Islam, if he loses this fight, where does he go? I mean, it's insane. Where does he go back down? Does he fight contenders? what does he do from there? Because he's a former lightweight champion. I guess he would go back down and try to fight Ilya for the title, or maybe he would just take a contender fight at welterweight. It's going to be very interesting, and I don't even think it's crazy to say if Islam wins the second title, if he wins the welterweight title, it wouldn't shock me if Islam retired. He's already made more than enough money to live happily forever and wealthy in Dagestan. So if he beats JDM, there's no doubt he's getting a fat bag for this. I mean, at least in standards of the UFC paydays. So if he wins this fight, that could be it. He could be like, you know what? I cemented my legacy. I'm done. That would be crazy. And also if Islam wins, man, there's some fun matchup. Islam versus Shavkat. Islam versus Gary. Islam versus Brady. Islam versus Morales. This division's really heating up. I talked about it for a long time. You had a welterweight division that was really like stalling for a while. Like Usman was fighting, but like all the top contenders were like refusing to fight each other. You had Colby shitting his britches like they were going out of style, refusing to fight Ian Machado Gary and brutally ducking him like his life depended on it. And you had other guys just like, you had Leon saying, I'm not fighting this guy. I'm not fighting that guy. You had a division that was really kind of stagnating for a while. I complained about it for years. Like, what is going on with welterweight? And now, think about that. I can't wait for JDM versus Islam. Also, imagine if Islam goes out there, just ragdolls JDM, takes him to the ground, subs him immediately. Think about how fucking insane that would be. That would be absolutely insane. Think about if JDM stops Islam, no matter what happens in this fight. Barring some weird fluky circumstance, it's going to be legendary. I mean, seriously, think about it. If Islam wins the second belt, no matter how he wins it, decision, sub, knockout, imagine he were to knock out JDM. He does have nasty striking that people don't give him credit for. But also, if JDM wins, I know JDM doesn't have personality. He doesn't really sell pay-per-views or get pay-per-view. I guess he does get pay-per-view points now, but that's going to be gone. JDM has no personality and sells no pay-per-views. But man, if he wins this fight, the anti-Dagestani fans are going to ride his nuts into oblivion and help boost his star power. And the future's looking bright for the welterweight division. Honestly, imagine all the banger matchups we can have with Jack Della Maddalena as the champion. I mean, same with Islam as well, but man, I would love to see JDM Shavkat. I already went through all the matchups with Islam. JDM versus Gary. By the way, Gary wins that fight, but we don't need to talk about that right now. I cannot wait for this main event. If the rest of the card was shit, I would still be super excited for UFC 322 because JDM versus Islam Makhachev for the welterweight title. Islam, after long reigning at lightweight, having the opportunity to become 2-division champion is going to be insane. And also, Islam could end up fighting Topuria at 170. The UFC would give Topuria an opportunity to become 3-division champion. And Islam versus Topuria at 170, while it would be wonky and I necessarily wouldn't want it at that weight class, it would be massive for the UFC. So you also have that potential possibility. I don't know if Topuria would want to go up and fight JDM for an opportunity at third belt. I don't think Topuria is going to hang around for that long. But either way, what I love about this pay-per-view is you have so many meaningful high-level fights that have you looking towards the future. Like, man, if Islam wins, man, I would love to see him versus Gary. I would love to see him versus Shavkat. I would love to see him versus Brady or Morales. Same for JDM. You could say the same for all those matchups. I mean, the division's really looking good. And this card is just absolutely stacked from top to bottom. 2 title fights. I mean, the main card is just incredible. The prelims are really solid. The early prelims are really solid. I mean, Baisangur Susurkaev. I already talked about that earlier, but damn, man, these prelims are good. The only fight that really doesn't get me excited is Angela Hill versus Fatima Kline, just because Angela Hill, it seems like every single fight she's in is super boring. But I am dying to watch UFC 322. It goes down November 15th. It's only a little over a week away. And I used to grade these cards. I'm giving UFC 322, I'm going to say this is a solid 9 out of 10 pay-per-view. It is 100% worth your money, even though ESPN Plus sucks ass. I guess it's not ESPN Plus anymore, but ESPN sucks ass and hasn't changed in years. I actually think the UFC is building an event here that is actually worth the cost of pay-per-view, which is $80 in North America, which is absolutely insane. Can't wait for this card. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much for watching.